Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is BookishAlley reporting and we are here to explore books. So basically today's video is based on a poll that I did on my Instagram yesterday, wherein I asked you guys whether I should make a video on procrastination on my TBR. So ultimately procrastination won. So here I am with a few tips that I generally follow in order to get rid of procrastination because I am a serious procrastinator. Tip number 1 is having a realistic approach. Now what happens is every person has a different cranial capacity. The capacity of one's mind to digest information is different from person to person. So for example, if someone can study for around 2 hours and while the other person can study around 4 hours, there's a big difference. So the thing that I would suggest you is to first analyze your capacity and then accordingly choose a particular goal. For example, if you're someone who can read only 2 hours with full concentration, then I would never ever ask you to read or study for 4 hours, because then your mind will decline in accepting the information and it will be of no use. It will be sheer time wastage. So yeah, have a realistic approach, analyze yourself and then decide a goal for yourself. Now tip number 2 is obviously set a target. As I mentioned in my last video, that target is very important. If you want to go somewhere, for example to a tour, you can't go without a map or a route. So it's very necessary to have a target in order to make your mind comprehend that okay, this is something that I have to do. And as I said in my tip number 1, this target is based on the approach you take, on the analysis you do regarding your brain capacity. So first off, a realistic approach, that is analyze yourself and then on the basis of that analysis set a target. For example, I can study 6 hours in a day. So what do? Is I know that I can't concentrate for longer hours in one sitting, so I just divide it. For example, if I have to study 6 hours, I divide it into 3 slots. 2 hours is enough to concentrate for me. And similarly, some of you can study 7 hours. So accordingly, you should divide it into slots and then allot the target for the particular day. Tip number 3 is that do not study on your bed. Okay, so most of my winters, what I did is I studied on my bed cozily under my covers, and what happened is after a few minutes or after a few hours I would get drowsy, I would feel very sleepy, and I would end up piling up everything beside my pillow and sleep there. So that's a no-no because I have suffered from it. Now I don't say that you have to have a specific room or a specific very grandiose table or something. Choose a strict place wherein there's no bed, no recliner, nothing, so that you can sit erect and study, because it's our tendency, okay, it's a tendency of our mind that the mind and body always seeks rest, and whenever you give it a little bit of tinge of rest, then ultimately it will give in. So what I suggest is do not study on bed. Take a small table or have a place anywhere where you're comfortable, which is not near bed or a couch. It will definitely help you retain your concentration without getting distracted. Tip number 4 is using 5-second rule. Now what this 5-second rule is, basically it's a book written by Mel Robbins, wherein she tells that how to combat procrastination. Now what this 5-second rule says is that, for example, if you have decided that you have to go to walk this morning and you are finding it really difficult to get out of your covers, so what you have to do is quickly count on your fingers 1 2 3 4 5, and on the count of 5 just jump out of your bed without giving it a second thought and start doing that work. First of all, when I read this book, I thought this is very weird and unrealistic. I don't think I'd be able to do it, but then I started doing it, and trust me, you don't specifically have to count to 5 or 10 or 20. It's just a habit, okay? So I would suggest that first you start using this 1 2 3 4 5 technique, and then when this technique morphs into a habit, then you can leave it. Now what I personally do is, whenever I have to do something, for example, if I have to solve numericals of physics or chemistry, and my mind says, come on, sit down, let's chill, and this is useless, what do I do is, I never give it a second thought. The moment I decide that I have to do this, I quickly jump and start doing that. And it's personally experienced ideas that I'm giving you, that whenever I give a second or a third thought to something I've decided, I end up doing nothing. So please do not rethink your decisions and your goals because your mind convinces you in doing nothing. Now tip number 5 is very, very necessary. Most of us just ignore it really badly, and it is rest. Yes, you heard it right, rest. Most of the people, when they make videos on procrastination, they do not generally mention rest. But trust me, your mind, your body, everything needs rest after a certain amount of work. So I suggest that rest doesn't only mean sleeping. You can take naps. For someone like me, I don't believe in naps. If I sleep at a stretch for like 2-3 hours. So what I do is, I just lie down, or I read a book, or I just lie down and think. And you can use this time of rest also for introspection, which is very necessary. And what we tend to do is, what I used to do is that I literally neglected rest. I would do work constantly, work after work. But then what happens is, when my mind reaches the threshold, it starts neglecting very badly. And then what happens to me is, I end up doing nothing for straight 2 or 3 days. So it's better to have chunks of breaks and for rest, rather than doing work like a donkey and ending up doing nothing. So yeah guys, these are all the points that I have to tell you, which I personally use, and I found them really, really effective. So yeah, follow them. And if you find any of the tips helpful, please definitely tell me in the comments below or on my Instagram. And thank you so much for watching.